The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Make real money predicting scores. Kalshi is available in every state. You also get 20 bucks for free when you sign up with the code SGPN. That's Kalshi promo code SGPN. And welcome everyone to the Tennis Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Currently Friday afternoon, February 27th, around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Rosso, Scott Reichel, once again going solo for this pod. Time to get into the title match in Dubai taking place on Saturday. It should be a short episode, only one match to preview. But of course, we're still going to talk about the semis and what happened there on Friday. Before we get into the actual breakdown of the final and the preview, or the recap, I should say, of the semis, a reminder that we have a couple ways to support the show. First of all, check out the merch store. A lot of great tennis gambling podcast merchandise on the SGPN merch store. We have sweatshirts, we have t-shirts, we have mugs. We also have hats now, different colors. I think you'll like the options we have there. Check out the SGPN merch store for Tennis Gambling Podcast merch. Plus, a reminder, check out the podcast on YouTube. Check it out on Spotify. Check it out on Apple. And when you do so, leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple, and like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Plus, a reminder, if you want to check out all of the content for SGPN in one easy location, check out the SGPN app. Free to download in the App Store. Has all of the picks and podcasts for every episode and every single show in one easy location. Download the SGPN app for free in the App Store. So moving on into the recap of the lock and dog picks for the semis in Dubai. Ended up splitting, did hit the lock though very easily. We had Medvedev money line at minus 125 against Felix. Never in doubt, he dominated. He only lost 6 games, and it was a nice, easy win for us. Closed it around minus 135, thought it would close at 140. Really sweat-free. Medvedev's been really helping us out this entire week, and we'll see if he keeps it going for the final. But either way, nice job there for the semis as he won easily against Felix. For the dog, picked up a loss there in straight sets as we ended up having Rublev on the money line parlayed with the over 20.5 games at plus 122. We got the over easily. The problem was Rublev lost in straight sets. I'll get back to that match in a second. But either way, picked up a loss there, a pretty annoying one, which I'll go into a bit more detail in a few minutes. But either way, did end up splitting as the dog ended up losing. For the recap, though, of the semis in greater depth, Medvedev did only lose 6 games. He looked very comfortable. In fact, he faced 0 break points in the entire match. He won 88% of his first serve points and 76% of his second serve points. So he really was dominant. He lost a total of 4 games, a total of 4 points on his second serve, and he lost 3 points on his first serve. So anytime you're serving and lose 7 combined points on your service games, that does tell you you're going to dominate, and we saw that happen in this matchup. Felix, though, was the opposite. His second serve got crushed. He only won 37% of his second serve points, and Medvedev coasted. So really never close. Medvedev, we mentioned in the episode that he was, I believe, 7-1 lifetime on hard court against Felix, 7-0 in matches that he did not retire in. And we saw a pretty similar story as Medvedev coasted. So far in the event, he has been on fire, and either way, he kept it rolling on Friday morning. Moving on to the annoying match, which was the Griekspoor straight set win, 7-5, 7-6. Rublev had a couple of golden chances to force a third set, and he failed. So for the first set, Rublev and Griekspoor were actually on serve. Griekspoor got injured. He ended up calling for the trainer at the end of the first set, and then he ended up breaking the game after. He had a couple of really nice shots, a couple of bomb forehands, and was able to get the break. Called for the trainer again. Then Rublev immediately had a love 40 in the first return game against Griekspoor. Did not convert. Then he was up 6-4 in the breaker and lost 4 straight points to lose the match. So in general, pretty bad choke by Rublev, having a love 40 and having a 6-4 lead in tie break and blowing it. But it was even worse because Griekspoor said after the match he thought about quitting. So Griekspoor, just to actually read off his quotes word for word in the post-match interview, he said, quote, "No idea how I pulled this match off. I could barely walk after the first set." He also said, "I got very lucky to win the tiebreak, to win it in 2 sets. I landed with a serve, and I felt something in my hamstring." So there you go, it was his hamstring, which was bothering him. And he also said, quote, "If Rublev won the first set, I don't know if I would have continued." So Griekspoor admitted post-match he could barely move, and he still beat Rublev in straight sets. So definitely a bad look there for Rublev. There's also a chance to segue into the final that Griekspoor does withdraw. I doubt it. I'm assuming he's going to try to give it a go. So keep that in mind. There is a chance the final could either be decided early via retirement or even just without it actually happening, because Greek Sport could drop out. But either way, the point is he admitted after the match that he thought about quitting, and he could barely move because he hurt his hamstring. And Rublev still could not win a set against him. So there you go. Rublev going up the clown rankings when I end up doing another iteration of it. But either way, a pretty embarrassing loss there for the angle of, once again, just looking at Rublev having a compromised opponent and falling short. And that was also the first time that Greek Sport beat him. He was 3-0 lifetime. So an embarrassing loss by, once again, Rublev. I'll put him up higher on the clown list. But it was embarrassing. And as a result, we have what could be a very lopsided final, because you might end up seeing Medvedev, who's been on fire, taking on a guy who can't move. So we'll see how that works out. But either way, hopefully, for the sake of tennis fandom, Greek Sport does not quit, and Greek Sport eventually does find a way to at least make it through the final. Not sure how competitive he's going to be, but hopefully he's healthy enough to actually participate, and there will be a final on Saturday. Anyway, time to move on into the actual preview of the final. A quick look at the other matches that took place in Acapulco last night and in Santiago this morning. So we actually hit some outrights for Acapulco in the quarters. I know that the outrights to win the event went up in flames. We had Zverev and de Minaur. They both, of course, lost immediately. However, we were sweating a couple of quarter bets in Acapulco, and they went pretty well. So for the actual sweats here, we did lose the first quarter with Zverev at minus 125. Did win the second quarter, one of the sweats that we had. We lost Ruud at 175, but we did have Kaboli at 240, who beat Wu in straight sets on Thursday night. So a nice plus 240 there. Third quarter was the big winner for us. We did lose Fekina at 150, but we had Tiafoe at 650, and Tiafoe beat Bellucci in straight sets. So we did hit a couple of really nice plus money outrights for Kaboli at 240 in the second quarter and Tiafoe in the third quarter at 650. So Acapulco turned out to be decent for us, just based on the actual prices we got for those two-quarter wins. So definitely a nice day for the outrights yesterday, even though the winners of the event, of course, went up in flames a long time ago. For the update in Santiago, we still have 2 out of the 4. Unfortunately, Tarante did win the first set against Tabilo. Then he fell apart, but it was 66-1. Took a flyer, did not work out. Carabelli did lose at 12-1, but Baez and Darderi are still alive at 7-1 apiece. To be honest, it looks pretty tough to beat Cerundolo right now, but we'll see what happens with those two guys. But we still have 2 people that are alive in Santiago, and of course, we do have Medvedev at 750 to win the event in Dubai. So we already have some action for the final in Dubai, but once again, hopefully you tail some of the outright picks. We did pretty well for the quarters and for the outright so far, at least based on who we have left in each event. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the recap of the outright. Time to move on into the preview of the final between Medvedev and Greek Sport in Dubai. Before we get into the actual breakdown of the final, a reminder they're brought to you by our sponsor, Kalshi. It's a real money prediction market available in every single state. Tons of trading options for your favorite sports. Besides sports, they also have a ton of markets like politics, entertainment, and even the weather. And if you're new to Kalshi, great sign-up deal courtesy of us. Get $20 for free when you sign up with the code SGPN. That's Kalshi, promo code SGPN for free, $20 to sign up at Kalshi. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. So Rhythm's been on a heater for college and for the NBA. Super easy to sign up for. You could also build models on your own, build it from scratch, use the leaderboard system. You could use other people's models for yourself, or use the Rhythm House model to give you plays directly. But you could also pair it up with Kalshi. So once again, if you want to mix both of the sponsors here, you can. You can use Rhythm to find yourself some great value, and then potentially actually pick it on the trading markets with Kalshi. So once again, you can combine the two of those together. If you want to go premium though with your membership, use the code SGPN25. We download the app, and you'll get a nice 25% off the first month. That's Rhythm, RATHMM, code SGPN25 for a quarter of the first month at Rhythm. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finished going through the recap of the semis in Dubai. Time to move on into the preview of the final. So for this one, you're looking at Greek Sport being a pretty sizable dog for the final. Medvedev, we know we already have at 750, but he's around minus 530, give or take. The price has been jumping around a bit this morning. I've seen it as low as 450, up to about minus 600. So once again, you might find a couple of different prices, but I'll go with 530 for the sake of this show. Greek Sport on the other end is around 4-1. For the over-under, I see 21.5 games. The over is -125. The under is -115. For the spread here, I see Medvedev -4.5 at even money. Greek Sport +4.5 at -150. And if you want to even jump that up a bit more, 5.5 for Medvedev is +160. And if you want to go for Greek Sport, +3.5, you can get that at +135. Now, the straight set betting has also been moving a bit. It was anywhere between -150 and -175 is the pricing that I see. So keep that in mind. And for the team totals here, Medvedev team total over 12.5 is -140. The under is even money. Greek Sport, the over-under is at 9.5. The under is -125, and the over is -110. Now, for the head-to-head history, they faced off one time before, coincidentally, this exact event. So they faced off last year, actually, and Greek Sport did beat Medvedev in 3 sets. Medvedev won the first set 6-2, and then you saw a couple of very close sets, which Greek Sport did win 7-6, 7-5. But either way, the only meeting ever between them was in this event last year, and Greek Sport did win in 3. Does it matter? Not really. Now, the point is Greek Sport, we saw once again have the firepower to actually beat Medvedev. However, I will point out that Greek Sport, of course, is injured. He has a hamstring issue. I know he was able to get past Rublev. He went a bit bigger on the forehand and the serve, and he was able to get away with it. Will he be able to get away with it against Medvedev? Probably not. Now, Medvedev so far in this event has been rolling through everybody. Yes, competition has not been insanely deep, but still, he's been very comfortable. He beat Chang, he beat Wawrinka, beat Brooksby, and beat Felix, all in straight sets. Felix didn't make the final last year, and he won a total of 6 games against Medvedev. Now, for the overall dominance of Medvedev in this event, I will point out that Medvedev has been on absolute fire. He has really just coasted in almost every single match. For the record, Medvedev has won 14 of his last 16 matches at this event. And I will point out that 13 of those 14 wins were in straight sets. On top of that, to go into the greater level of dominance besides winning in straight sets, I will point out that Medvedev has lost a grand total of 18 games in the 4 matches here combined. He's lost 18 total games. He has not only been winning, but he has been dominating in every single match. And we'll see if Greek Sport can put up any resistance whatsoever. Now, for the path, Greek Sport has had a tougher go of it in terms of competition. He beat Virtanen in straight sets, who could still serve pretty well, beat Bublik in straight sets, beat Mensik in 3, and beat Rublev in straight sets. So Greek Sport has been a lot more battle-tested by comparison, beating Brooksby, beating once again Wawrinka and Chang isn't really comparable to beating the likes of Rublev, Mensik, and Bublik. I do acknowledge that Felix is still a good hardcourt player, and Medvedev destroyed him. But Greek Sport has been proven, at least has been proven constantly, that he is undervalued in this event, and he has been looking sharp. Now, the injury, I think, will play a factor. The one difference that I think you have to at least acknowledge between, for example, Mensik, Rublev, and Medvedev is the returning, I'd say, skill set. I do think that Mensik is not exactly the greatest returner. We saw Greek Sport spam serves out wide the entire match, and Mensik couldn't do anything about it. We saw Rublev, who we know is a really bad returner, not break him a single time. I think that Medvedev, who is going to stand very far back, I know Greek Sport, of course, can come forward and volley, but if the hamstring's bothering him, I do think he might be a bit more reluctant to come forward. We didn't see him really volley that much against Rublev. He got by in the baseline exchanges. I don't see that happening in this one. I think Medvedev will force Greek Sport forward. I think Medvedev, of course, will get a bunch of returns in play. Yes, the serve out wide can still do damage, but I think Greek Sport will struggle to do much in this match personally. I think Medvedev wins. I think he wins in straight sets. You could argue that there's a revenge angle because Medvedev did lose to him last year in a match he arguably should have won. But still, the point is Greek Sport, when you're looking at his overall form, he's been playing very well. But I think Medvedev's return game, he was able to do so much damage in the return games against Felix. And Felix is a good server. I think a compromised Greek Sport might be complete fish food for Medvedev here. So I think Medvedev wins comfortably. I understand if you want to argue that Greek Sport makes one set competitive, but the fact is, I just think, first of all, in the rally game, Medvedev should win a bunch of the longer rallies. And if Greek Sport is going to try to shorten points with extra, I'd say, pace on the forehand, etc., because it doesn't want to move around that much, That's not going to work long-term against Medvedev, who will keep extra balls in play. I think it's a really bad matchup for an injured player to deal with, especially with Medvedev coasting in every single round. I'm going with Medvedev in straight sets here. I think that he's going to end up getting some revenge from last year. I do think that you're looking at Griekspoor, who, if he's going to win, has to win one way. I think if Griekspoor wins, you have to pair with the over, because I don't see Griekspoor getting many breaks, if any breaks, in this match. And I think his best chance, of course, is tie break. So if you want to go with Griekspoor, you might want to pair him with the over to get some even greater plus money value. If you think Medvedev wins, I think in theory he could drop a set maybe and still win in 3. But I think if Griekspoor is going to win, it has to pair with the over. I don't see him winning in dominant fashion against Medvedev. I think if you want to go for a better price, Griekspoor money line with the over, I think, would be a decent multiplier for your bet. But I think Medvedev wins comfortably in this one. I see Joe asking if I actually like Medvedev team total over 12.5. I don't. I actually like Griekspoor team total under 9.5 personally. Even with the tiebreak, you still can get a 6-3 if Medvedev serves first, and you still end up winning that under. But so that's kind of for Griekspoor. I will point out the tiebreak, by the way. The no tiebreaks at -200. The yes is +140. So if you want to argue that Medvedev team total over could be an option, maybe, but I'm not really willing to pick anybody right now, especially a compromised opponent, to even get to a 7-6 or a 7-5 against Medvedev right now in the current form that he's in. I think Griekspoor team total under 9.5 is the better approach for the team totals if I had to pick one. I think Medvedev coasts, though. It's unfortunate because I think it would have been a very fun match if Griekspoor was healthy, because we saw last year it played out to a very drama-filled match. But if Griekspoor is injured, which he clearly is because he stated in the post-match interview he thought about retiring from the semifinal, if his hamstring is cooked, I don't really see him doing much damage on the serve. And I do think that Medvedev, in general, has been serving well. And Griekspoor, I know he's had a couple of very good returns, like in the tiebreak against Rublev. He hit the cross-court winner, did the same thing against Mensik on break point in the match prior. I just think that Griekspoor's return game in general is not very good. And now that he's injured, I think it should be even worse. But Medvedev did not face a break point against Felix. I think he will be holding pretty easily for the majority of the match. I think it'll be pretty straightforward. And I think it's unfortunate that we got a compromised finalist, but it is what it is. So I'll give me Medvedev in straight sets. I think he ends up winning. If you want a score line, I'll say 3-3. I think he wins handily in this final. So that's my thoughts for the matchup. If you want to go Griekspoor, once again, I would not mind putting that with the over to get better value. But I don't think he wins, and I don't think he wins a set. It's kind of my thoughts for this one. Medvedev has been good to us all week in various matches, and we will continue to assume he dominates for the sake of this final. But once again, give Medvedev, and I will go with the under for the team total for Griekspoor as well. Anyways, going to wrap it up for the preview of the final in Dubai. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. Before we get into the lock and dog, a reminder, brought to you by our sponsor, Arnold Fantasy, to be covered with pick'em entries for almost every single sport. You also just recently increased the payout. So if you want to go for 2 pick entries, it's now 3.5x. It was 3. That is definitely more. And 3 pick entries went from 6x to 6.5x. So once again, a boosted payout right now for all 2 pick and 3 pick entries. And a reminder, if you're new to the platform, get a great sign-up deal. Play $5, get $75 bonus funds. You sign up the promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy. We're also brought to you by Novig. So Novig, of course, is America's #1 prediction market for sports. And you can also get some great prices. Check out the reduced juice options there. They have every sport, basically, including tennis. So check it out if you want to find yourself some better lines. And if you're new to Novig, get a great sign-up deal. Spend $5 and you'll get $50 when you sign up with the code SGPN. That's Novig, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finished going through the preview of the final between Griekspoor and Medvedev in Dubai. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. For the lock, I did not mind Griekspoor team total under 9.5. If you could only find, once again, I'm going to mention a price for 2-0, which some books might not have. If the pricing is above -150, I would take the Griekspoor team total instead. However, I did find Medvedev straight sets at -150. That will be my lock for the show. I think that price is wrong. Medvedev has not dropped a set yet. He's been on absolute fire. He's lost 18 games in the 4 matches combined at this event, and Greek sports compromised. I think Medvedev is going to win in straight sets. He's won 14 of his last 16 matches here in Dubai. 13 of the 14 wins were in straight sets. When he wins comfortably here, and I see that happening again. He is simply put on the warpath, and I mentioned in the semis episode that if you had to ask me which player I would pick to win the whole thing, I would take Medvedev. So Medvedev, I thought, was the guy to beat from the first couple rounds onward, and I still feel that way. There's no reason to change my opinion. Medvedev beating Felix in, once again, 6-4, 6-2 style, I think is going to really suggest just how good Medvedev's been in the entire event. Griekspoor, I do think, is going to maybe hang in there early in the match, but I think as it goes on and as Medvedev adjusts to the serve out wide and knowing that Griekspoor's movement will be compromised, I think Griekspoor is eventually going to fall apart. And I do think that with him contemplating retirement in the semis against Rublev, I think Medvedev, with his ability to get so many returns in play, will really frustrate Griekspoor as these rallies get longer and longer. Give me Medvedev 2-0 as my lock for the show. He's cashed for us in a bunch of matches here. The first match against Chang, we had 2-0. With the under in games against Brooksby that got there as well. We had him winning against Felix. He won in straight sets as well. No reason to go against the cash cow this week. Give me Medvedev. Get the job done in straight sets. A -150 as the lock. For the dog, I'm going to pick the Medvedev blowout angle here. Give me Medvedev -4.5 at even money. Medvedev has covered the spread in every single round. He's lost 18 games in the first 4 matches combined. I think Griekspoor, once again, if he loses the first set early, he might roll over. We'll see if there's an absolute blowout set in there. There might be. I mean, once again, we saw Medvedev break Felix multiple times on a fast hard court. Griekspoor might have problems, so keep that in mind. But Medvedev, with him covering the spread in every single round and with Griekspoor being injured, I do think that Medvedev -4.5 has some value at even money. I think it should be, in my opinion, like -120. But I think even money is intriguing when you might see Griekspoor. It was assuming he ends up deciding for pride to not retire mid-match. It could get very ugly. So I'll go for the blowout angle as well. I'll go for Medvedev -4.5 games as my dog for the show at even money. Anyway, once again, the lock and dog picks for the show. The lock's going to be on Medvedev 2-0 at -150. For the dog, I'm going to go for Medvedev -4.5 at even money. So we're going to go with the double down here on Medvedev for the lock and dog. And that's going to wrap it up for the show. Like once again, tomorrow morning for Acapulco, going to break down the final there. Till next time, good luck to all of you.